He had no other choice but to play by the rules of the game, to live in the confines of the government's regime. With the shutting of the door, he felt as though he had turned his back on the land that he truly called home.
Katłįà Lafferty is using her platform as an author to address the crisis that is northern housing. The powerful prose titled "This House is Not a Home" weaves a story of colonialism and the dispossession of Indigenous peoples in their own homeland.
As the co-chair of a committee for the Yellowknives Dene First Nation on housing, working there I really saw all of the issues that many housing residents were living through when it comes to having mold in their home or putting in maintenance orders that weren't filled, to having their house taken right out from underneath them.
The things that were supposed to be making their lives easier were instead filling their lives with idleness.
It's the third book from the acclaimed Dene, Cree, and Métis writer, and inspired by true events.
A friend of mine, their whole family went out hunting in the early 80s, and they were gone for about 6 weeks in the fall, and when they returned, their house was completely gone, and they had no idea what happened to it, and soon found out that the Housing Corporation had assumed that it was abandoned and just tore it down with everything still inside of it, not caring, and then just built up a housing unit pretty much in the same spot and then expected them to live in housing and pay rent.
Ahead of the novel's official release date on September 1st, Lafferty is sharing the novel in Yellowknife at a book reading.
Really appreciate the leadership that you take on this front.
Sparking discussion from audience members about housing issues they face.
But if I choose to be in a relationship with someone and I have common law status, I will lose like half of my, I guess, rights or half of my property based on a housing situation.
It was the first time in their lives they had running water, flushing toilets, and electricity.
While the characters in the novel are forced to assimilate into the developing settler colonial mining town, Lafferty says it's also a story of empowerment, calling for land back, and illustrates how Indigenous communities honor who they are with resiliency, strengthening sovereignty.
Well, I definitely want it to be mainstream and be picked up and recommended by different various organizations that have the ability to lift it up and bring it into the forefront of mainstream media so that people can know what's happening here in the North.
And the work is far from over. On August 13th at the Yellowknife Library, Lafferty will also be helping individuals impacted by housing issues in submitting claims to the National Housing Advocate. Charlotte Mort-Jacobs, APTN National News, Yellowknife.